Hello and welcome back to NoBS. Today we return to talking about the United States presidential election, specifically the debate that just happened a few days ago. It went really well for President Trump. In fact, so well you could tell because all the liberals in the mainstream media have been super triggered since it happened, and they've been trying to slam Trump with made-up stuff ever since. And that's not something you do when your candidate wins. If Biden did a good job, the media would be reacting and supporting him, but instead they're slamming Trump and trying to make stuff up about him and really just kind of lying about what he said. In addition, they're purposely misunderstanding some things he said. Some of them don't even seem to know very common terms related to issues like immigration. So we're talking about that all today. We're going over the debate specifically. This is more a kind of wrap-up show. So before we get to the lies and the terms they don't understand, which tell us a lot about them politically and about their intelligence, frankly. But before we get to that, let's talk about the debate in general. A very different debate than the first one. The first one was much more heated, a lot of interrupting, raising of voices, arguing. It was a very confusing first debate, but the second debate actually went well. It was actually more coherent. They did take time and no interruptions were had. There were points where the microphone was turned off while one person spoke for 2 minutes uninterrupted, and it seemed to go well. And I think it actually backfired on the Democrats because they're obviously the ones that were pushing for this. They're trying to help Biden and give him this sort of extra edge since he can't handle the fierce fighting that Trump was offering him before. So previously Trump was kind of attacking him like a lion. This time he was sitting back and more coy and more poised, like say a bear waiting for someone to attack him. Something like that is how I saw it. And yeah, Trump did good. He answered the questions well. He called out Biden on a few big things, like specifically the Hunter laptop thing came up, which Biden just totally duffed the response to. He basically blamed Russia out of nowhere. A pretty bad liberal move, a very notable Hillary Clinton move. She used to do this and still does this. They blame stuff on Russia. Anything they don't like, anything that goes against them or makes them look bad, or when Trump wins, they blame Russia. I mean, Russia is this big boogeyman for the Democrats, and that's what really made Biden look bad at first. Him not addressing his son getting a job because Biden was vice president, them making money in Ukraine, Russia, China. They have really bad deals going on in their family. So that was brought to light. In addition, the other big duff up was when Biden said he never was opposed to oil or fracking. He tried to change the story, he tried to rewrite history, pretending he never was against oil or fracking, one of the biggest industries in our country, specifically in states like Pennsylvania and Texas and others. And well, that was proven wrong. Trump called him out, and then Biden said, well, show the tape, put it on your website. And then Trump did that. He did that the very next day. We have clips of Biden saying he'll end fracking. He'll say no new fracking. He wants to go totally away from fossil fuels, all this bad stuff. So that was another mess up. And that pretty much gets us up to date and gets us to talk about this new issue. So the new term and what was going on in the immigration discussion of the debate, that's where things got a little iffy. That's where the lying reporters and people started to misquote Trump purposely, and some were forced to apologize. Others just left their bull crap up. And that's what we're going to go over now. I got this tweet. It's like a collection of some of the bad tweets. This is from Robbie. It says, all of these people are so desperate because Trump won the debate that they have resorted to lying about what Trump said. He did not say it was good that some kids aren't with their parents. He said, go ahead to the moderator. So a little context before we get to these tweets that he so eloquently captured in these images. We'll read a few. But the first thing to note is this was the immigration debate. They were talking about how parents and children are separated at the border. This is because they're entering our country illegally. They're committing a crime. And as what happens when they commit any crime, if a parent goes out and robs a store or beats someone up or whatever it may be, they have to be put in jail. They get separated from their kids. They've basically forfeited their right to be a parent because they're not responsible. And that's what we're talking about here, but more at a sympathetic angle. It is sad. It is sucking that these kids have to have these terrible parents that do crimes with them around, try to use them as shields. And the issue that came up was the whole let's put kids in cages meme that the Democrats try to blame on Trump. They try to act like Trump is literally throwing kids into cages for no reason. This is not true. This is a total misrepresentation. And that's why they tried to misread this quote from him. The quote basically says here, Biden says we have 500 kids that lost their parents. Trump said good. This is a quote from Ethan Klein, another YouTuber who apologized afterwards. He actually was one of the ones that retracted this in shame. And there's a lot of other examples that says, did Trump just respond to Biden citing 525 kids separated from their parents with good? Well, no, they didn't, Jonathan. That's not what he said. He said, go ahead. That's what the real quote said from the real debate. They just misheard this. this, or they wanted it to be true, like they're looking for something to attack him with. They just are so desperate to go after Trump that they'll believe lies. They'll believe, they don't even like use their ears or eyes. They just want things to be true and they start spreading it. And it goes to show how corrupt and bad the left is, how ill-informed they are too. So back to talking about this issue, the whole cage thing, that was something that Trump actually won on too, because his response was, who built the cages? This wasn't Trump's invention. This wasn't Trump's rule. He wasn't asking for this to happen. This was something that just happened under his authority because he happened to be president, and these people at the border were following procedures that were established by the Obama administration. That's why Trump said, well, who built the cages? Well, Obama and Biden built those cages. They set up these rules. This was totally fine 4 years ago. No one was questioning it and trying to claim it's racist or anti-children or anything like that. This is just how it has to work. And sure, it could do better. I'm not denying it sucks that these kids are having this happen, but let's not attack Trump. Let's not attack the border police. Let's attack the bad parents. Let's say, hey, why are these parents committing crimes with children around? Why are they carrying children across these long, dangerous journeys and committing crimes along the way? I mean, crossing the border illegally is a big crime in and of itself. Like, this is one of the biggest crimes you could commit, is illegally entering a country. I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, Democrats, but it really is. And it wouldn't go over well in any other country. I mean, sure, there are some other really liberal ones that try to take a lot of immigrants, but if, say, I just tried to go and walk across the border and enter France, like, people would ask some questions. I would get taken in. They might even send me back or arrest me or something. That's a crime. So it's not this big innocent thing that they claim. In addition, the worst part here is the lying. Like we said, this isn't even what Trump said. This isn't even close to how he said it. So the fact that they're putting it up there as if it's true is just really, really depressing. Next, we got some more examples. It says 525 kids. Good. This is a picture of the cages set up by the Obama administration, of course. It says Trump's response that these kids are without their parents. Good. Biden, you have 500 kids. Good. 500 kids. So the thing is, does 500 really seem like that much to you guys? I don't know. I know that's a lot. I know every kid matters and every person's important, but I thought there would be more. If there's so many people illegally going across the border and there's so much of this happening, that doesn't seem like the biggest number in the world. I mean, it's certainly something, but I would have thought there would have been thousands or something. There's millions of people trying to sneak in. I don't know. And the next part of the story, it gets even more interesting. Next, I have to do another explanation. We're still on the topic of immigration, and we're going to talk about another term that came up. This time, Trump mentioned the coyotes and the people that are sneaking others into our country. Essentially, I think most of us know this is pretty common. Anyone that talks about immigration or this issue pretty much has to know what a coyote is. Coyote is the name of a criminal who sneaks people across a border. That's just the name for it. It comes from the coyote animal, obviously, but in this context, you're talking about immigration. Coyotes are the people that you hire when you're in Mexico to get you to sneak you into America. It's a coyote. They charge you some money. Some of them are really shady and they take advantage of people. They don't get them there all the way. Sometimes they kill people. Like, it's a very, very bad criminal person who breaks the law, who helps others break the law regularly. Their job is to break the law. It's essentially a career criminal. And this came up in the debate. Trump brought it up in a certain context. We're talking about immigration. We're talking about the dangers of it, what's going on. And the funny part about that is a bunch of people acted like they didn't know what coyote meant. They thought Trump was literally talking about the animal, like about the dog-like kind of wolf animal that runs around in the wild. Like, that's what they thought. And this is just so revealing. This is just so bad. And that's why I had to go over it and show you guys another quote you could see right here. This is a quote from David Hogg. He's a pretty famous teen who just got into Harvard. And this is what he has to say about coyotes. He says, imagine calling the immigrant parents that bring their children to the United States for a better life coyotes. The level of xenophobia is sickening. So this is really off base. Like I said, this is a famous teen who got into Harvard, supposed to be the biggest school in our country, like the most prestigious college and university, one of the greatest in the world, supposedly, but I'm starting to doubt their sort of enrollment process if they're going to bring in a kid who doesn't know what a coyote is. Coyotes do not refer to immigrant parents trying to bring their children to the U.S. for a better life. First of all, that's a pretty rosy, kind of over-the-top, happy-go-lucky description of it. Really, what's going on is, first of all, coyotes are the people you hire to sneak you across the border. You pay them to help you commit a crime. Sure, they are trying to get a better life in America, and they're welcome to do that the official way. If you want to apply and get immigration status legally, that's by all means, go ahead. We're not against immigration here. We're not saying stop immigration. we don't hate people from other countries, but we do not like when people break the law and come in illegally and possibly bring in other bad things with them. They could be sick, they could have paraphernalia, they could have bad intentions. They're not all just coming here happy-go-lucky like, oh, I'm gonna go and work and be a great citizen. It's like, no, if they broke this law, they're likely to break other laws. They could be coming here to steal, to hurt people, to take resources away from legal Americans, legal immigrants. There's lots of legal immigrants who are against this too. Legal immigrants don't want people sneaking in and ruining it for them. So this is not xenophobic. This is not sickening. This is just a very, very ignorant person. I'm not sure though. I mean, like I said, sometimes I think these people are willingly ignorant. They're pretending to not know what coyote means, like trying to make Trump look bad. But this just makes them look bad. This just makes them look ill-informed. And in addition, these are the people that pretend they know more about immigration. They want to get involved and tell people there should be more immigration. They act like they know about this issue, but clearly they don't. This is a very, very watershed moment. This is a sort of litmus test, because if you don't know what the term coyote means, you don't have a right to talk about immigration. It's like saying, hey, you want to talk about the environment? Well, then you need to know what the word water means. You need to know what gas emissions are. There's basic terminology within these sorts of realms and sorts of topics. And this is a big, big miss for them. I mean, imagine being an expert, or imagine acting like you're some kind of expert on baseball, but you don't know what a home run is, okay? You don't know how to make a double play in baseball. I mean, these sound like strange terms if you haven't heard of the sport, but that's okay. It's okay if you don't know what coyote means too. I'm not hating on anyone in the audience here. Anybody watching, you might not know, but the point is, if you don't know, you don't have a very good right to talk about immigration. You don't know enough to address the topic. At the least, you don't know enough to talk about the term and try to pin it on Trump as some kind of insult. That about wraps things up. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you comment your thoughts on everything below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed what you saw, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you on the next video.